I'm Alice. Standing in the middle of the ballroom, the air thick with tension, I watch as my mother's face drains of color. The music fades into the background, and all eyes are on us. Evan stands beside me, his hand warm and steady in mine. The envelope he's just handed to my mother lies open on the table, the words within it like a thunderbolt in the silent room. It all started a while back. I grew up in a big, old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. My father, Henry, was a no-nonsense man, focused on the farm and his business deals. He thought that if you just kept your head down and didn't cause a fuss, everything would work out. My mother, Vera, was the social butterfly, always hosting parties and making sure our family looked perfect to the outside world. But beneath that polished exterior, there was a darkness. My younger sister, Lily, was the apple of my parents' eyes. She was delicate, with a soft voice and a way of getting what she wanted with a single pout. I, on the other hand, was the practical one. I worked hard at my job as a graphic designer, paying my own bills and making my way in the world. I met Evan at a local art exhibition. He was from a small, close-knit family. His parents, Tom and Nancy, were simple people. They valued hard work, respect, and more importantly, boundaries. When we got engaged, I felt like I was finally stepping into a world where I could be myself. At our rehearsal dinner, Tom and Nancy presented me with a beautiful old Volvo. "This car has seen its share of miles," Tom said with a smile, "but it's reliable and it's yours. It's a symbol of the new journey you two are starting." I was over the moon. It wasn't just the car, it was the thought, the trust behind it. But that night, I noticed Vera's eyes lingering on the car keys. She murmured her thanks to Evan's parents, but there was a calculating look in her eyes. I should have known then. The next morning, as she helped me with my hair, she said, "You've always been so selfless, Alice. It's one of the things I love about you." Her words were like a warning, but I chose to ignore them. The wedding reception was in full swing. The band was playing a soft, romantic tune as Evan and I danced. For a brief moment, I felt like I was in a dream. But then, I saw Vera pushing through the crowd, her smile plastered on her face. She stopped beside us and said, in a voice just loud enough for the nearby tables to hear, "We've decided to give Lily the car. She really needs it more than you." My heart dropped. Lily appeared behind her, her sequined dress glittering in the fairy lights. "Come on, Alice," she said with a laugh. "It's just a car." It wasn't about the car. It was about all the times I'd given in, all the times I'd sacrificed for her. I looked at Vera, her face so sure of her rightness, waiting for me to thank her. Evan's thumb brushed against my wrist, asking if I was okay. I took a deep breath and said, "Sure, I don't mind sharing." Vera relaxed, thinking she'd won. But Evan knew me better. He squeezed my hand, letting me know he was there. As the night went on, I couldn't wait for it to end. After the cake was cut and the guests started to leave, Evan and I slipped into a quiet hallway. He leaned against the wall and asked, "Do you want me to talk to them?" I shook my head. "We've got this covered," I said. Months ago, over pizza and beer, Evan and I had talked about Vera's habit of taking things that were mine and making them family property. So, 2 weeks before the wedding, with the help of my co-worker who is also a paralegal, we drafted a notarized declaration. It stated that all wedding gifts in my name could not be transferred or sold without my written consent, and any attempt would result in a legal review and the forfeiture of future inheritance from Evan's side. Just then, Evan's phone buzzed. It was a text from a guest with a photo of Lily, posing beside the car with the caption, "Finally got my dream ride." I laughed bitterly. "She couldn't even wait," I said. I reached into my clutch and felt the thick envelope. "Now, we make them pay," I said. Evan nodded, and we walked back into the ballroom. Vera was by the cake table, laughing a little too loudly. Lily was hovering around, pretending to use her phone. When they saw us, Vera beamed. "There you two are. Everyone's been asking where you went." I smiled and said, "Just taking care of some final arrangements." Evan stepped forward. "Lily already has a ride now, doesn't she?" he said casually. Vera looked confused. "What do you mean?" I said, "The car." You said she's getting it. Lily tensed up. Alice, don't be difficult.
It's just a car, she said.
Henry wandered over, looking uncomfortable. Can we not do this here? He asked. I took a deep breath and said, Dad, this is where she did it, in front of everyone. The band stumbled slightly, and a few guests turned to look. Vera's smile froze. Alice, you're overreacting. It was just a misunderstanding. Evan held out the envelope. You might want to read this first, he said. Vera hesitated before taking it. She glanced at Lily and me, then unfolded the paper. The sound of the paper rustling was like a gunshot in the quiet room. Lily leaned over her shoulder to read. First, there was confusion, then realization, and finally, the color drained from their faces. Vera tried to laugh. What is this? She asked. I said, it's a notarized declaration from 2 weeks ago. It protects all my wedding gifts. Any attempt to transfer or sell them without my consent will have legal consequences. Lily let out a panicked laugh. You can't be serious,
she said.
I looked her in the eye. Completely serious. Henry huffed. This is just petty, Alice. I shook my head.
No, Dad.
Pretending to be generous while stealing is the real pettiness. Vera's voice hardened. We're family. You don't treat family like this. I replied, you went into our garage last night and took photos of the car to post online. That's not family behavior. Lily's face went pale. It was a joke, she said. Evan asked, a joke about what, exactly? She had no answer. I turned to Vera. This isn't about the car. It's about all the times you've taken from me and called it love. You've always taught me to give, and you've taught Lily to take. Vera snapped. You're being dramatic. I said, maybe, but this time, there are witnesses. A ripple went through the guests. Phones were half raised, and people were whispering. Lily's voice cracked. You're embarrassing the family. I said, I'm not embarrassing anyone. I'm just setting boundaries. Evan took my hand. Mrs. Thompson, you should keep that paper. It's legal documentation. Vera stared at him as if he'd betrayed her. You encouraged her, she said. Evan shook his head. She didn't need encouragement. She just needed respect. Lily's face turned red. You think you're better than us now that you're married? She said. I replied, not better, just with boundaries. The word boundaries hung in the air like an unknown concept in our family. Vera was desperate. We raised you to be kind, she said. I said, you raised me to be a doormat. You taught Lily to take advantage. That was the moment the air split in two. The band stopped playing, and even the fairy lights seemed to flicker. Lily stepped forward, trembling. You'll regret this, she said. I smiled faintly. I've regretted it for years. For once, I'm standing up for myself. For the first time, Vera's perfect composure cracked. Her voice wavered. Alice, please. Don't do this in front of everyone. I said, then you shouldn't have done what you did in front of everyone. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. The silence was thick. Evan leaned over to the band. Play something, he said quietly. The drummer picked up his sticks, unsure. The singer looked at me for permission, and I nodded. The music started again, soft and defiant. Evan pulled me onto the dance floor. The guests parted like the Red Sea. As we danced, I saw Vera's pale face, Lily's smudged mascara, and Henry looking at the floor. The envelope lay on the table, a symbol of my new, found strength. Evan whispered, breathe. I said, I am. And for the first time in a long time, it was true. When the song ended, I turned to my parents. Help is not theft, and love is not taking without asking, I said. I placed my champagne flute on the table beside the envelope and walked out with Evan, through a sea of silent stares. Outside, under the twinkling string lights, I let out a long breath, releasing all the pent-up emotions. Evan put his arm around me. Are you okay? He asked. I nodded. I think I just stopped apologizing for being me. He smiled. It's about time. We got into the car, the same car they'd tried to steal. As we drove away, the city lights blurred past. I rolled down the window, and the wind pulled at my veil until it came loose and fluttered away. Evan laughed. "You just let go of the old you," he said. I smiled. "Good. I'm ready for a new beginning." When we got home, the kitchen still smelled like the coffee we'd started that morning. I kicked off my shoes and felt the cool tiles under my feet. My phone on the counter was buzzing with missed calls from Vera, Lily, and unknown numbers. I turned it face down. Evan came up behind me and wrapped his arms around me. "Still want that honeymoon drive?" he asked. I smiled. "Let's take the car." A week later, I was standing in the kitchen, the sunlight streaming through the window. The house was the same, the car was in the driveway, but I was different. On the fridge was a photo of me at the wedding, holding the envelope, with Vera's shocked face in the background. I used to think the photo was harsh, but now it looked like the moment I finally found my voice. I realized that freedom doesn't come with a loud bang. It comes with a quiet decision to say no. People say families fall apart over money or pride. Maybe that's true, but sometimes they fall apart because one person finally decides to stop pretending. I looked at the photo and whispered, "Boundaries don't destroy families. They define them." If you've ever had to draw a line with someone who called it love, share your story below. You're not alone, and you don't owe anyone your peace.